So the question I came up with was, the government has placed a freeze on all federal interest loans from March to September of 2020. I currently owe $3,873 in federal unsubsidized loans at a 4.53% interest rate compounded daily. How much would I save in monthly interests if I reinvested the money I will be saving during this interest freeze into paying off the loans? So in order to figure out this equation, or this problem, the equation that I'm mainly using is the compound interest formula, which we can find right up here. And below it, I've numbered out all of the steps that I'm taking to find the answer to this problem. So first, we're going to take the information in our question and plug that into the compound interest formula. So here my P is the initial amount in my account, times 1 plus my interest rate is 4.53, but I want that as a decimal, so that comes out to 0.0453 divided by n. N is the amount of compounding units in a year, and since it's compounded daily, that number would be 365 raised to n, so once again 365 times t. Now t is supposed to be given in ratio of years, but since we're working with months, I decided to turn that into a fraction relative to months. So since I'm working with 7 months and there's 12 months in a year, I rearranged my t as 7 over 12. So when I plug that into the calculator, the number that I get is 3,976.7. And this is not my interest. This is the amount of the account in total. So to find out exactly how much of that is interest, I subtract my initial amount and I get 103.7. So now that I know how much I would be saving over a 7-month period by not having to pay interests, I want to know how much that would reduce my my balance to. So I take my initial balance and subtract that 103.7, and I get a new number of $3,769.30. This would be my new account total if I reinvested the amount of money that I will be saving through this 7-month loan freeze. So the next step that I'd want to do is figure out how much I would be paying in interest over just 1 month. So this is the same equation as above, but instead of 7 months, I'm doing 1 month because I just want to know how much interest I would normally be paying each month without without reinvesting. So once again, I get this number that is not the amount of interest, that is the total in my account. I subtract the amount that I actually borrowed and I get $14.65 of that total is actually from interest. And then step 4 is I will be doing the same thing that I did up here, but my initial number will be the number that we found in step 2, which uses, then it'll be the number that I found in step 2, which is the number that my account would be at if I reinvested what I'll be saving. So I plug that into the calculator, I get this number here, and I do the subtraction necessary. I subtract it from the initial number, and I get 14.06. And now to find out the difference, I just subtract the 2. So I have 14.65 minus 14.06, and I get a grand total of 0.59. So according to my calculations, if I reinvest the amount of money that I will be saving during this loan freeze, I would be able to reduce my monthly interest payment by 0.59. or 59 cents. So then I also showed this graphically. Here you can see I have months, and this is the number of interest, or the amount of interest without an investment and with an investment. The orange line on my graph is with the investment, the blue is without. On the x-axis I have months, on the y I have amount of interest, that would be in dollars. An interesting observation that the graph lets me notice is that they do diverge over time. As you can see down here, they're practically on top of each other, and here they're clearly separated. That is because the more time that passes, the interest compounds on itself. So by having a lower starting number or lower starting amount on the account, it'll grow slower than the wider one. So the calculations we did earlier were under the assumption that once this freeze ends, I will be paying my interest every single month. But if I were to not pay my interest, let's say for 7 months in a row, the difference between not investing and investing is a lot more significant. Here it's about $2.03 compared to only 1 month difference, which would only be about the 59 cents that we calculated earlier.